This USA versus England and World Cup betting edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. WynnBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted parlays, the same game odds. WynnBet has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 and get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. We're also brought to you by the SGPN Thanksgiving free roll. Everyone who hits a football bingo in our contest will win $100 cash and a $100 gift card to the SGPN store exclusively on the SGPN app.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan. Real money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. USA. USA. All right. How fly do we look in these?
We got our USA soccer shirts, Ryan. Mere days after I tweeted that soccer sucks and ties are pointless. I was frustrated with the draw against Wales. But we're back. We're here. We got an awesome soccer-packed episode. Laser focus.
Super proud of Soccer Sean for wearing a USA soccer shirt.
Well, and the timing couldn't have been better. There was some. We ordered the shirts last minute, literally, like 20 minutes before we start taping this episode. Get a knock on the door. The shirts are here. It is a World Cup miracle, right?
And the FedEx delivery guy looks around. He's like. Is this an office or an apartment?
Anytime someone drops off stuff, they go, "Whoa, what's going on in here?" We have a lot of crossover between FedEx, UPS, mailmen. So shout out to all the great men, mostly men, some ladies who are fans of the show and deliver packages. Because I imagine you're in the truck all day, or you're walking around, put the earbuds in, catch up all the SGPN content. Shout out to those good folks, and of course. We're talking soccer, and you can bet on all the World Cup over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. Oh, Ryan, the British are coming. We're locked. We're loaded. We're ready for the World Cup game on Black Friday. Oh man, it is going to be a ton of fun. Get over there, get a World Cup parlay going. Spin that parlay wheel with WynnBet. So much to bet on. Bet big, win bigger. Offer subjects to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough. WynnBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Right, we have two guests on the show. Later on the program, we'll be joined by Josh Landon of the Always Cheating podcast. But before we get to that, we got to check in with the host of the Soccer Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Mr. Billi Bhatti. What's up, Billy?
All my information about the US mail comes from watching 10 seasons of The King of Queens. So, actually, one of my favorite shows. It's not great.
Yeah, it is. That's a classic sitcom. His dad is great. He's awesome.
You got Jerry Stiller, check. You got peak Kevin James,
Lisa Remini, pretty hot.
Yeah, but that was when she was still trapped in the Scientology box, I think. But there's no shame in that show ending up on TV.
No, it's a sitcom classic. All right, so Billy, we're bringing you on. There's a couple massive stories I feel like we have to hit on, and then we're gonna walk through the England American World Cup game and just kind of talk some soccer stuff in general as far as betting. I feel like we get a lot of questions. I'm sure you do as well. With the markets and everything. But before we get to that, there has been some huge news in the World Cup so far. Saudi Arabia knocks down Argentina. Of course, Saudi Arabia, I think, was 18-1.
We were too focused on Qatar for the bribe angle.
Should have looked at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia wins over Argentina 2-1. They were 18-1 on the 3-way line. And of course, the 3-way line is win, loss, or draw in 90 minutes in the group stage. There are no ties. Or sorry, there are ties.
That's not the phone number you call to talk to Patty C and Colby.
So walk us through this game and how did Saudi Arabia pull off this upset?
Let me walk you through the first thing when you're covering soccer. There's no ties. Ties are what NFL players wear to court cases. There's draws.
Draws.
We have draws. It's draws. When you're covering soccer, it's a draw. Like there's no ties here. But yeah, so yeah, well, I actually had bigger odds than that. Like when the team lineup came out, because there was some debate as to whether Messi would play or not. Once they saw Messi playing, Argentina moved from -600 to -900 on the money line, which subsequently moved Saudi out to 25-1.
Wow!
So it was even bigger than that, because obviously once Messi's playing and he's not going to rest this game, everybody started piling on. They were taking the handicap lines. They were taking Messi to score and Argentina to win. All of these different types of chalky bets. I mean, the bookies would have absolutely cleaned up today, no doubt about it at all. But I don't know what happened there. Like the Argentina just needed to not lose that game, and they would have equaled a world record. That was the craziest thing. They were 36 games unbeaten. They hadn't lost a game for 3 years. Even a draw would have equaled the world record, and a draw would have been a terrible result. A draw would have meant we were sitting there anyway, questioning their credibility to win the competition, wondering if they were legit, wondering if, like, you know, the tournament, suddenly they would freeze in the tournament. And to lose the game, I don't even know what to say. And it was like in a 5-minute period where they just crumbled. Of course, in the first half, there is some controversy. 3 goals disallowed from VAR, 1 proven to be onside, because there's this ruling now which says that a body part to be offside, it needs to be a part that can score. So anything below your elbow doesn't put you offside, but the clothing that you're wearing, that can put you offside no matter where it's situated. So they're kind of telling everybody to wear your extra small boy band shirts if you can find them, because your T-shirt can make you offside, which is ridiculous. So when you're looking at Qatar and Saudi and potential bribery angles, you don't want to leave anything to chance. You don't want to be able to give them the opportunity to give you offside or to disallow goals. Well, in this instance, Argentina had 3 goals disallowed, and the one scored by Lautaro Martinez is very controversial. But that's still no excuse for coming out flat in the second half and allowing this team to score 2 goals against you. And then also having no creativity at all. Messi looked like a lost little boy out there who didn't know what was going on. He looked completely overwhelmed. He didn't do anything. He didn't create anything. Argentina didn't create anything as a team. So I think, yeah, okay, they had loads of goals disallowed, but how did you come out that flat? How did you concede 2 goals against this team? How did you have no response at all? I think that's massively concerning for them. Obviously, a world record, which everybody expected to be talking about today, was not achieved. And yeah, I mean, what was crazy is that did not really have too much of a significant effect in the market, where I thought that, you know, as second favourites being at about +500, +600, they would have a massive drop. They haven't had a massive drop. Like, I wouldn't even take them at 10-1, 12-1 now. After watching that, I wouldn't take them. But yeah,
do you think this could be a wake up call for them, where all of a sudden, oh, hey guys, come on, we can't mess around. Then all of a sudden they do go on a run. Do you think in a weird way it could help them to lose like this, or what? They haven't
lost in 3 years. They probably might. Maybe they don't know how to lose and respond to it.
Well, it could go both ways. Do you think any chance this is a wake up call for them, or there was enough you saw out there that you didn't like that you're scared off them?
Yeah, I don't know about wake up call, because I think that, like, everybody's coming in here to make a statement, and for them, it's different to other teams because you're coming in chasing a historical record off the bat. You've built this up for 3 years. You've got to 36 games unbeaten. You can level it today and you can break it in your next game. So for them, the incentive was already there to not come out flat. So, you know, whereas like we're watching this game now between France and Australia. For France, you know, they've been flat for a while. For England, they've been flat for a while. So if they came out flat, that would make a lot more sense. But for this team, they're almost chasing a major historical accolade. Well, not almost, they were chasing a major historical accolade, and that seemed to get on top of them. I think the opposite thing could be true in terms of maybe that relieves a little bit of pressure. That record's gone, so now let's crack on with winning the tournament. On paper, you're better than Poland. On paper, you're better than Mexico. You should win those 2 games. But I'd be very concerned about their inability to break down a team like that, and also how they were physically outmanned by Argentina by Saudi Arabia. Sorry, because Argentina, they're always the dirty, physical South American team that you don't want to beat. They're going to be gritty. Whatever they don't have in talent at every competition, they're going to make up for it. This is a team that won a World Cup in '86, and their only world-class player was Maradona. They got to a final in 2014, and their only world-class player was Messi. So usually what they don't have in talent, they compensate with by being really gritty, really nasty, really horrible. And I didn't see that in this team at all. They were outmanned by Saudi Arabians.
No junkyard dog in it.
I mean, 8-1 to win it all, and they're still the favorite to advance from their group at -225. So
that's crazy.
I guess it doesn't matter.
I think they're obviously aided by that second game being a draw. Oh my God, you made me do it.
Ties are what football players wear to court. Hey, Billy. All right. As far as like betting this game or betting games in general, I know this one you said if as far as winning both halves, you could have had a crazy outcome here, like 500 to 1. Of course, winning both halves means you have to win the first half like it's its own bet, and then win the second half as its own bet, as if it's 2 separate parlays, right?
Yeah. So to win both halves, Argentina started the game at 10 to 11 -110. So once they scored that goal in live, they were -400 to win both halves. So obviously the assumption is that they'll win the first half and they'll go on to win the second. The more interesting market is the halftime, full-time market, which is different to winning both halves. Winning both halves means you need to win 2 45-minute periods. So it's like two soccer games.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, one 45-minute game and a second 45-minute games. The halftime, full-time, which is a market that exists in the NFL as well, quite widely available, means that you need to go in up at the half and you need to go on and win the game. There's also markets that are draw. You can have like a draw and who wins at full time. And you can also have one team to be winning at the half and then they go on to lose the game. So we've seen some this year, particularly in the NFL, we've seen some good first half teams that are terrible in the second half.
Ravens.
And some teams that are terrible in the first half and good in the second. I think Indianapolis Colts, before Saturday took over, were 0-9 ATS at halftime. So, but in this instance, Argentina halftime and Saudi Arabia full time, for Saudi Arabia to come back on Argentina was 500 to 1. Because it's God. Because that's just not supposed to happen. So
that's insane. What about now? I don't even know.
That's better than Austin Hooper 2 touchdowns.
It's pretty close. That was 100 to 1. What about the Asian handicap? Sometimes when you look at these spreads, you see, hey, England -3/4 of a goal, and that spread, it's called an Asian handicap.
Sean, this is how you know when someone's been deep in the weeds over here in America, because a lot of the gray marketplaces deal Asian handicap. So if you're using one of those, we get the question. I know I personally get the question a lot, so we'll let Billy answer it, but essentially explain to people when they're betting a total with these Asian handicaps or they're betting a side why they see a 0.5, 1.
Yeah, so this is the question I get asked the most, and it's actually quite simple, but it's also like difficult to explain like the middle one. So it's easy just to go from the beginning and then work your way down. So when you see a 0, that's basically a pick. So that's going to be your 50-50 line. That comes with a push if the game ends up being a draw. So that's when you see the Asian handicap line at 0, that ends up being a draw. When you see it at -2.5, that means that if you end up, say for example, you took England 0 -2.5, you would have England to win the game. But if they ended up being a tie, you would only lose half of your money. So it's more of a commitment than the 0. but you still get half your money back if it's a draw. You lose your entire stake if USA end up winning the game. So that's 0.25. 0.5 is just your money line. So England need to win. If USA draw or end up winning the game, you lose that. So 0.5 is simply your money line. When you get to 0.75, you're looking for England to win the game more convincingly. Now, the money line now only pays out half of the winnings for the money line. You need England to win by 2 goals in order to cash this fully. When you go to -1, you end up with a push if England win by 1 goal. So there's no payout at all if England win by 1 goal, but there is a refund if they do. But you need to win by 2 goals to get any kind of profit. So that's the difference between 0.75 and -1.
And so
when sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, for this game, I know I have it on good authority that this game is being, for example, like the first half. We've been talking a lot about first half markets. The first half market for the England USA game is being dealt as 0.5 for England, or -0.5 for England. So basically, that would mean that if you bet that, let's say you were going against England, like Benedict Dant probably will, or against the USA, like Benedict Dant will, half your bet goes on a pick'em, half your bet goes on -0.5, essentially.
Yeah, essentially that's what's going on. Yeah.
So if it was a draw, you would get half your money back, right?
Basically, yes.
Okay. All
so
right.
what's diabolical is how they do this for no other sports, and all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of people betting on the World Cup. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I mean, even
a lot of questions.
like for example, my first half unders, a lot of them are 0.5, 1, or like for example, Argentina was 1, 1.5. So I pushed half my money and I won half my money on that one. So
oh yeah, so if it was 1-0, obviously
exactly
the 1 is the push, and then you win on the under 1.5.
You get 2 bets for 1. I mean, some say that's a better situation.
All right, so the Eagle.
Yeah, I mean the line today was -2. So that was your 10 to 11 -110 line today. So Argentina, it needed to win by 3 goals for you to win any cash on that. If they won by 2 goals, you would have ended up with a push. If they won by 1, it was a loss. And obviously they lost the game entirely. So that was a loss. So that line was nowhere near cashing.
So let me ask you this then. As just general handicapping, like are you, if you're looking for a full game or a half market, are you generally playing the draw line or whatever the team A, team B or draw market, or are you generally playing the spread markets or whatever the handicap markets are called?
It really depends on the odds. Like yesterday, I had a small lean towards, if anybody won the game, I liked Wales as an underdog, but I also took the draw as my main play. So I think if I was looking at that game and I fancied the draw, I think that market is really for, if you really think there's a possibility of a draw, if somebody's carrying in a very, very strong draw trend, but you do strongly feel that one team is better than the other, but they have a habit of drawing, then that's definitely the market to play. I mean, a team in the EPL, for example, Brighton, who seem to be dominating games but having draw after draw after draw. They weren't actually losing a lot of games as a result of it, but they weren't able to get over the line with the wins. So they were a very good team to get in the draw no bet or the pick market. But essentially, it's always down to the odds. Like if there's no value on it, you may as well go to the money line, and that's also where the 0.25 goes in. That's an important market, because 0.25 is, you're half committed to the money line, but you're also going to get half your money back. If you're someone who's going to do $100, $200 bets and you're a serious bettor, that does offer you a lot of protection to get half your money back if the team don't get over the line. So it's all about judgment. I would never comment on how I would approach a game without seeing what game it was and what the odds were for it. But yeah, there's loads of ways in. But 0.2, if you're not sure, 0.25 does give you a best of both, where you will get half your money back for the draw.
Now, real quick question: how do you root for a draw? I mean, I saw you had USA Wales, right? You gave that out. You hit that on the draw. I just like my brain can't comprehend how I root for the draw. So the game starts and are you rooting for no scoring? Are you rooting for, hey, whoever scores, and then you're immediately rooting for the other team? I guess I just can't wrap my head around that.
I think when there's a talent discrepancy, you're looking for the underdog to score first, and then all of a sudden the balance will shift and they'll sit in defensively to try and protect what they have. And then you're looking for the good team to not score immediately and for the underdog to put up some resistance before the favorite scores. And then you want to basically ride out the end of the game. That's where I'd be looking at it. Yesterday's game kind of played out well because the USA are a high-intensity team who press hard, and Wales are trying to sit in on the counter-attack. So with USA scoring first, Wales had to come out and play, and USA had a little bit less energy in the last 30 minutes of the game, which is when Wales scored. That also could have played out another way, where if Wales had scored on the counter-attack whilst USA were doing all the pushing, the pattern of the game wouldn't have changed. Wales would have said, okay, you've done all the pressing. We've gone up the other end and scored. We've exposed the gaps in the field. And the game pattern wouldn't have changed because USA would have just carried on and Wales would have just carried on sitting there. So either way, the goal in that game didn't really affect it too much because there wasn't a significant favourite. But you're right. The best way, ideally, in a perfect world for a draw is for it just to be an absolute bore fest. We saw 2 0-0 draws today.
Yeah.
And 0-0 draws in this tournament are going to be something to look at because it's still pretty hot. I see this narrative out there where people are saying, oh, there's air conditioning on the fields and it's been moved to the winter in Qatar. Yeah, but a winter in Qatar is like a winter in Florida or it's still the Middle East. It's still going to be pretty hot, especially when you're looking at 1 p.m. kickoffs. So
especially like real quick today, it seemed like maybe even Mexican Poland, Denmark, Tunisia, they were both 0-0s, and those, this France Australia game that's being played later, it's already 2-1 at half.
Are we looking to do some time trending?
So maybe that's where it is really looking in on it. As far as like the time of when that goes down. All right, let's get to the England versus America, a rivalry that goes back all the way to the middle 1700s. Right now, I'm seeing over on WynnBet.
It doesn't go back further than that, Sean.
I don't know, maybe. Looking at the three-way line, England -170, draw +310, USA +500. Billy, walk us through this game.
Yeah, I can't remember what World Cup it was, but I believe the greatest upset in history was some World Cup in the 50s where USA beat England. And they always bring it up. When there's a result like today, the commentator went, Cameroon beating Argentina in 1990, USA beating England in I forget what year it was. I think it was the first World Cup after the war, though. That's a big historical result. But I don't know if we had gambling then, so nobody's ever told me the odds. I base everything on odds. Leicester City winning the Premier League, Buster Douglas knocking out Tyson. Yeah. Unless you can give me the odds, I cannot correlate what type of upset it was.
I'm sure
there are actual odds there.
Yeah, I'm sure there were some D-gens getting down on some
in the 50s.
Yeah, I mean horse racing was huge.
Did Italians exist?
Yes.
Okay.
I just can't imagine they were playing sports and people weren't gambling on it. It
was 1950. USA won 1-0. It was dubbed the Miracle on Turf. Maybe they were playing this in a dome. US had lost 7 straight international matches by a combined score of 45-2 coming into the game.
Oh my God. That's insane.
They were considered massive underdogs. However, the English players were a little too cocky for their own good. This was America's only win at the World Cup that year.
Ooh, okay. So we just
and the line was what, Kramer?
Yeah, I don't.
And the line was what?
We'll have to. I'll keep reaching.
We'll have to figure that out. All right, so walk us through this game.
I know they gamble. They gamble in Peaky Blinders, the DVD, and I know that's set in some point at that time. So yeah, maybe we'll find a line somewhere. Sorry, go on.
No, let's talk this game. England, USA. USA obviously a big dog here, but walk us through what you think's going to happen and how the game could shake out here.
It's an interesting one because it's played out exactly as I spoke about when I was last here, which was I very much thought that Wales and USA were even, and that could be a tie, a draw. And then England beat Iran. So if England do win this game against the US, then you will see England rotate their players against Wales. I still expect a rotated England team to beat Wales. So I don't think it's going to be tragic if the USA lose this game. And I ultimately do think results will be decided against Iran. One little asterisk, kind of off the subject, but not really, that I want to mention. I don't think Iran are as terrible as the 6-2. You're going to see a lot of this in this tournament. Australia tried it just now, didn't work. Tunisia did it successfully today. Poland did it successfully today. You're going to see teams sitting with a low block, and that's a way of trying to stop the better teams from playing. So whereas some of these group stage games, me and Sean have already spoken this week, and he said some of the games are boring. That's because you have stronger teams who are ranked in the top 10, top 15 against teams that are between 30 to 60 playing each other. And their best way to get anything from the game is to sit in with a low block. So that's what Iran was supposed to do. They didn't do it successfully against England because England scored. It didn't help that their first choice goalkeeper was off the pitch and injured with a broken nose. So that substitute goalkeeper was in no man's land. Once the favourite in these situations score, then the entire game plan that these teams spent like the whole 4 or 5 days orchestrating goes out the window, because it's like, okay, our whole plan is containment. If we can't contain, we now need to go out and play, and we need to go and force a goal against this much better team. That leaves gaps, and then you see a result like this 6-2 demolition that we saw. Don't make that the way that you judge Iran. They're not as bad as you think. They're actually better than Qatar. They're better than Saudi Arabia. They're the best Asian team in this competition still. So don't automatically think that USA and Wales are going to steamroll Iran. I'm already seeing loads of that in the media here, where they're talking about can Wales afford to rest Gareth Bale because Gareth Bale's fitness isn't 100%. Absolutely ridiculous. You can't rest Gareth Bale against Iran. So moving back on to this game, I don't know if USA are going to take the approach where they give England all this respect and they become the team that sit in. Because looking at the way that they played with these young players, they went to go and attack the game by the throat against Wales. These young players believe that they can do things. When you've got people like McKennie and Pulisic in your team, I don't think they want to be playing in teams that sit in defensively and turn around and basically admit these players are much better than us. We're going to sit in and we're going to just try and counterattack to win this game. So I don't know what kind of tactical approach they'll take. Ultimately, that's not going to be the players' call. It's going to be down to the US. And when you look at USA's record coming into the tournament, they failed to score 2 goals in a lot of their games against teams that are equal to them. And I do feel that they will sit in this game. So I think you're looking at something along the lines of England to win, which on the money line is not appealing because it's about -180. But then tacking on under 3.5 goals or under 4.5 goals to it, because I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think USA are going to take that sit-in approach, even though the likes of McKennie and Sargent and Pulisic aren't going to like that. I think that's what the manager is going to make them do.
This is why everyone hates the manager. I told you this, Sean. The guy sucked. We had a friend of the program, Ryan Connor, through watching Sunday Football. He's a big soccer guy. First question: hey, how you feeling about the manager? Sucks. They can't have a great result because then he'll be back for the next World Cup. So
so they're almost worried about.
Look, if they beat England, there's a chance that they keep this guy. No, I mean.
So for me, the play is obvious. USA +500, backs against the wall, coming in hot. I think
England's choked before, and I actually did find
and they're coming off a massive win, Ryan. What better? We see this all the time. What better time to fade a favorite when they're sitting around smelling themselves after a 6-2 win?
So I don't have odds for the match back in 1950, but I do have a little bit more detail. England had already beaten Chile 2-0. U.S. had lost to Spain 3-1, and at the time, the odds for the English to win the World Cup was 3-1. And the U.S. was 500-1.
Okay,
so it would be similar to like a Brazil. Honestly, the England Iran odds like not quite far apart,
or probably similar to Argentina, Saudi Arabia as far as like their tournament odds.
Brazil versus Cameroon maybe is in the same. I just don't think. I mean, to for the U.S. back then to have been outscored 42-2 or whatever, 45-2 over a 7-game losing streak. That's just unbelievable. Almost like back in 1776, we're a ragtag army. Yeah, I mean, Sean, are you doing it? You're going to bet on the U.S. again and then get mad at and blame soccer when you lose?
Brian, cue the music.
All right, hold on. It's cute. It's cute. Let me just unmute it.
All right.
Do we not hear anything?
Don't hear the music, but oh, here we go. America. Look out, Billy. Here we come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 5
Listen to that, Ryan. Come on.
5-1. Let's go.
USA. USA. Billy, I have some serious questions, though. Are there any sort of... It seems like you're leaning towards the under as far as goals scored.
I have some serious questions.
Do you have any sort of fun props? I know WynnBet has first player to score. There's obviously prop bets like corners, which I have no idea how you would handicap that. Obviously exact score also. So any other bets outside of that you like that you think are interesting?
It's a difficult one because I really don't know how USA will approach the game. I think if they try to play England toe to toe, you could see something similar to what we ended up seeing in the Iran game, but obviously to a lesser extent. England aren't a defensively solid team, so I don't lean towards the under, as in under 2.5 goals. I think that would be an insanely risky bet. I would tack on a under. With England winning, but it will be a juiced under, like the under 3.5 or an under 4.5. So it's two juice selections together, giving you a plus money selection overall, because I do think England have enough quality to win the game. But I wouldn't say that USA couldn't score in this game. England have been conceding very freely in 2022. So both teams to score could be a way to play this. As for the corners angle, I think England in the corners handicap. What have WynnBet got the corners handicap set at?
Yeah, I'll pull that up. I'll pull that up right now. They have. All right, so okay, this is all. They have a. All right, they have most corners. England is minus 370. Draw is plus 700. USA is plus 360, and then they have the total corners set. Let's see. Oh no, England's corners set at over under 3.5 with some crazy juice both sides. So under 3.5, England corners is plus 350. Over 3.5 is minus 667.
What are we doing here?
USA corners is set at 1.5, but again, crazy juice. It seems like the real line is USA 2.5. That seems like somewhat even juice. And then total corners looks like probably sitting at like 9.5. But there's a lot of crazy juice. How do you break down a corners market?
You basically look for who's going to be on top of the game, which will be England will have more ball possession, and whether they actually attack from those areas. So when you have Harry Kane in your team and you decide to go with Kieran Trippier, in fact, England have two fullbacks in their squad that do that: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kieran Trippier, and on the other side they've gone with Luke Shaw, who's the main left back there. All of these players put balls into the box looking for Harry Kane. In addition to that, England scored from crosses in their first 2 goals against Iran. The second goal was from a corner where Harry Maguire nodded it down to Saka. So that's an area they'll be looking to be more dangerous from. So they'll work on their set pieces, which is what corners are called. Corners and free kicks collectively are called set pieces. So if you guys hear that in the commentary, that's what they're talking about. And we have set piece specialists, which are the guys that put the ball in. I believe that in set piece markets, England are a good play in all of the games where they're expected to have more of the ball possession. But I mean, as I said, this is a difficult game to handicap. Other than simply taking England on the money line, it's difficult to see what kind of approach USA are going to take. When you have all of these young players, they're not going to want to sit in this low block and be defensive. I'll tell you one thing they will do. If you have the prop there, they are going to get themselves booked. They're definitely going to get themselves more yellow cards because you saw that exuberance against Wales already. And I think against England, it's going to be even more. When you have Joe Biden attempting to talk and attempting to rile you up before a game, I mean, this is one of those things where they needed to get Trump in. I think Trump's phone call would have been a lot better.
That would have been hilarious. Them listening to Trump's pep talk.
Just have The Rock do it.
Yeah, we need some non-political figure that can rally America instead of being divisive.
The Rock cut a promo for all of the world before the Super Bowl.
I mean, The Rock gets people hyped about the XFL. He can get them hyped about World Cup. All right, Ryan, what's your pick? USA, England.
Well, I don't want to be I don't want a Benedict here. As we know,
Ryan's about to drop England money line.
As we know, Benedict Arnold betrayed the great city of Philadelphia, giving information to the filthy redcoats.
Have you heard that? I've noticed a little nervousness in Billy's voice when he's talking about he doesn't know what the Americans are gonna do.
Well, no, what you didn't catch was he's like one outcome could just be like Iran if they try hard. What the young players want to do, they're going to get their ass kicked.
He's not worried.
Because this is going to look like one of those situations where the USA basketball team used to show up and it's just like, oh, that's cute. You have a couple guys that play in our league. That's nice. So I don't want to Benedict. I don't want to give information to the redcoats. But you can build your own bets on soccer.
WynnBet,
on soccer
sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet.
Feeling pretty fit in the prop building market right now. So we're going to take USA plus 1.5.
Oh, okay.
And both teams to score.
Ooh, I like this.
Plus 150.
Okay, I'm going to co-sign that. USA plus 1.5 on the goals and both teams to score.
Yes.
So if they get one goal, you're pretty good because I guess
basically they lose. They can lose by a goal.
Okay.
Now, if you really want to be diabolical, I'm not even going to say it out loud. I'm not going to say it out loud.
I'm going to keep it simple, USA, because I don't want to have to be in a situation where I'm scratch that off the record. I don't want to have to be in a situation where I'm rooting for England to score a goal. Never going to happen. Billy, before we let you go, I know.
Just to be clear, though, are you taking the money? Because you were very upset when you took the USA money line against Wales, and then found out that, or at the end of the game when it was a tie and you lost, you're like, "Where's the overtime?"
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I had figured it out before, but
why is there not overtime?
If you can build a bet there, like it's a bit chalky, but I mean, if you can have England most corners, USA most bookings, and England money line, like if that can get you into plus money, that could be a way to go as well. I imagine it could, because England aren't super juiced there. They're not one of those 300, 400 favorites. They're only they're under minus 200 over here. So yeah, that could be a way to go, because I do think USA will pick up a few bookings here, just in terms of like being very, very hyped about it, knowing that they need something from the game. All your players are young, so, and also, it's not just a case of the England players can get you booked. We're seeing that in these tournaments where you can get people booked as well. Like it's not just a case of USA players getting themselves booked. The combination of more experienced players can get you booked as well. So yeah, there is that element too.
So yeah, I'll actually go draw no bet USA plus 345. Ryan, you talked to me because USA getting a draw against England would be good for them. So I want to be able to not be mad.
Yeah, you want to celebrate a good result.
Yes.
What do you mean it ties a result? Colby's
draw. Sorry, draw.
I will say we didn't get into this with Colby when we were in the office discussing it, but for a guy who likes a 3-0 football game, his hatred towards a draw is almost there's a little nonsensicalness in there.
All right, Billy, before we let you go, your quick instant reaction to Ronaldo no longer being part of Man U. Of course, you can check out all the Man U shows and on the Soccer Gambling Podcast feed.
Before you start, I will say the interview did make its way over to America with Piers Morgan. Oh, I mean, this guy is an all-time douche. He's Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, like just all the head cases put into one, and he seems like he's very emotional.
Listen, let me just tell you something quickly there. Just because of the two names you mentioned are very, very different people. Aaron Rodgers, I met Aaron Rodgers over here. He was walking around. The kids called him over. He came over. He talked to everybody. Just bullshit chat like, "Are you looking forward to the game?" "Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to all this kind of stuff." Did pictures with every kid, signed every autograph. Russell Wilson walked around in the UK with his headphones on and two security guards, two personal bodyguards that he brought over with him that did not let you get near Russell Wilson. So I think when we look at these two historically and compare, where they are in the history of football, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson aren't going to be near each other. Yet when they came over here, one acted like he was a normal guy and one acted like he was Michael Jackson. Like you would think it was Michael Jackson or the royal. I've seen the royal family like walk around with less security guards than this. So
that's
you
great.
You couldn't get near him. Like I was there and like my kids, I was like, "Oh, that's the guy." I was like, "Don't even bother." He was like, Russell. He goes, "You need to," and the guy was like, "Sorry, you need to step back." Like it's like there was nowhere to step to. Like nobody was anywhere near this guy. So
wow.
Yeah, I don't think those two can be compared. Ronaldo, he does stuff for children. He does have his own. He has actually two security guards as well, two twin brothers. He was the only player at Manchester United while he was there that had that. These two twin brothers drive around everywhere. But when you're the most famous person in the world, according to Instagram followers, that makes a lot more sense than Russell Wilson. But in terms of how I feel, I would have liked Ronaldo to be massively successful. I mean, if we pan up here, I don't know if we can see this. Well, there's a sign Ronaldo.
Oh yeah, you got the Ronaldo up there.
Yeah, that's the most prominent place in my apartment. That's above my bed. I see that every night. So yeah, I see that with no matter what.
Good night, Ronaldo.
I'll see it. Yeah, no matter what I do in this bedroom, I'll see Ronaldo. So yeah, I mean that's how I feel about him. But I wanted it to work out. But when you can see that it's not, when we drop from second to sixth, there is a Ronaldo problem. When all of the other players don't make any advancements, like you're talking about all our players in their early 20s who are looking to become. We don't have world-class players, but we have a developing team, and everybody's progress like stood still last year. But Ronaldo still got his 20 goals. And a lot of people were turning around and saying, you can't blame Ronaldo, he got his 20 goals. But I go to the games and I can see how he talks to these young players when they don't pass to him and how much pressure everybody's under to make sure Ronaldo gets his share of the ball. And then this season, without him there and the games he didn't play, we beat Liverpool, who last season beat us 4-0 and 5-0. We beat them. We beat them 2-1. But can you imagine losing two games, 4 and 5-0, and then you beat the team, and the difference is Ronaldo's not playing, and we've got a new manager who doesn't play Ronaldo. Then we beat Tottenham, and then we beat Arsenal, who are 5 points clear at the top of the league. They've had one defeat, and the only team that beat them was Man United without Ronaldo playing. So, and then you add to that, every time he's on the pitch, we don't win games. We have a 25% win rate this season with Ronaldo playing. So all of the numbers, and I am a numbers person, say that Ronaldo doesn't help you. And then when you watch the games as well, and you see how he reacts to players, the fact is that he's not taking the chances that he used to take. A Ronaldo who scores the number of chances that he takes from the expected goals, which is a popular statistic in America. The expected goals conversion, what used to be ridiculously high from Ronaldo, to see that dip in his current season and last season as well, shows you that he's not the same player. And when you have all that baggage with him making other players unhappy, with his insistence on playing, with us having to play a different style because we're trying to evolve and move over to a pressing style, a high intensity style, and we're trying to do it with a striker who's in the bottom 1% in world football of strikers who press, because he just wants the other players to get the ball and to give it to him. He wants everybody else to do all the work. And I understand he's unbelievable for a 37-year-old. And if he does go to Portugal and he goes to the MLS, all those other kids, they'll do the running around for him. They'll get the ball to him and they'll score the goals because they'll be unbelievably happy to be playing with Ronaldo. It doesn't work at Manchester United, who are a team chasing Champions League football. So for the betterment of the team, it's better that he's gone. It's good that they put out the statement that said it was by mutual consent, which means that nobody is suing each other. So yeah, I think it's the best possible outcome. Sorry for the long answer.
I will say he's very soft. It seems to fail in England. I wonder if if the media over here will give him some troubles.
Can't handle the hot MLS.
You better not come to New York.
Those tough beat reporters in the MLS are going to really grill him. Billy, always appreciate you calling in. Make sure you subscribe to the Soccer Gambling Podcast with Billi Bhatti, and worst of luck on Friday. USA, USA. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it. Hey,
Thanks,
Ryan.
guys. Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, before we get to Josh Landon, got to shout out our other buddy, Dave. That's right. Dave is your it's the perfect app if you're a little strapped for cash. Again, holiday season coming. We've all been there. You're a little pressed for cash. I know back in my days when I drove a 1991 Ford Escort station wagon, money was tight. Didn't have two nickels to rub together. I wish Dave was around back in those days, because Dave, it's a banking app that could help get you up to $500 instantly with extra cash, no interest, late fees, or credit checks. That's again, right there, some extra cash, help knock out some bills, catch up on some gifts, whatever it is, get some financial relief with Dave and extra cash. All you got to do is download the Dave app from the App Store right now, or go to dave.com, sign for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. Joining us on the line, co-host of the Always Cheating podcast, a fantasy Premier League podcast on the Blue Wire Network, Mr. Josh Landon. Thanks for calling in, Josh.
Oh, hey, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, very, very happy to be here.
You know, honestly, Sean, anytime I hear "always" lead something off, I think of Always Sunny.
Yes.
And so I couldn't help but think about that. But always, I love the handle, "Hail Cheaters." I mean,
so where does that come from?
Yeah, always cheating is this. I'm actually an Arsenal supporter, and so when you watch other teams play Arsenal, there's this chant they've been doing. I mean, as far as I know, like for 50 plus years, called "Same Old Arsenal, Always Cheating," and it's just very British. I mean, as you can tell right away, I am a very American person, but I'm a huge fan of kind of all the British soccer slang. It's kind of like college football slang. You know, I don't think we really have it for the pro sports here, but so that's the nature of the pod. Yeah, but we do a weekly fantasy Premier League pod, and now we're doing a daily pod during the World Cup called the World Cup Minute, and that's just straight kind of a 15-minute pod recap of what just happened that day, and then a look ahead to the matches that come the following day.
I was going to say, Sean, we might accidentally fall into a World Cup DFS rabbit hole if we're not careful.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have to connect. We're gonna have to connect him with Malcolm.
Yes,
I mean,
because we also have a guy hosting a daily. We have two guys: Soccer Gambling Podcast, World Cup Gambling Podcast. We got a ton of. More so for the sayings Malcolm likes to bring to us from across the pond. He's great. The British are great with their phrases. Now, real quick, how did you get into? Did you grow up playing soccer, then started watching early on? It seems like Americans being fans of English soccer relatively new, but how'd you get into it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Michigan. I grew up a Michigan sports. I went to Michigan State, so I grew up a college football, college basketball, Lions, despairing, Midwestern sports
The Lions
fan.
have converted a lot of people to soccer.
Yeah, exactly. That's honestly, that's part of it. I barely ever had an NFL season that I was really into. And the 2010 World Cup, I really fell in love with the game. I was I moved to Brooklyn around that time, and just in New York. I mean, you guys are in LA. It's like, these cosmopolitan cities are a great place to watch World Cup, right? Because they have all these bars, and you're like, wow, I didn't know there were so many Argentina supporters in this city, right? And they all sort of come out, and you see the the jerseys, the kits come out, and it's just a fun atmosphere. And so I just really got into it, and then when it was over, I was like, I want more of this. And so that August, the Premier League season started. I started watching matches every weekend, and then I just kind of got increasingly hardcore about it. I sort of took that American sports fans obsession and then brought it to the Premier League, and so that's how I got here.
And I'm curious because we often hear from folks, and honestly, just having guests on the show, there's something about having a British accent and talking about soccer, aka football, that just sounds right. Yep. With your audience, are they like? Is it the fact that you are Americans that's resonating with them?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I do with my best friend Brandon, and we've been friends for a long time, and so I mean, I don't know. I think the chemistry is good. I think that's part of it. We also, we release really early. We're like a Monday morning podcast, and especially in the UK, we record every Sunday night. And so for them, even if they weren't inclined to listen to us, we're the first thing out of the gate every morning.
The hardcore guys are like, I don't care who it is. I'm
exactly.
in.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds a little bit like us, Sean. Back when we started doing our NFL picks on Wednesday, that was ahead of market.
100%. Now, as far as like breaking it down from a fantasy perspective, like walk people through when you're kind of handicapping a game, what are some things you look for, and specifically maybe there's a different handicap for the World Cup, but like what kind of team are you looking for? What kind of plays? Any sort of stats?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I'm kind of throwing all the fantasy stuff out the window when it comes to the World Cup, because there actually is a World Cup fantasy game. I got to be honest, I don't recommend it. It's not a great experience. The Premier League, even the Premier League fantasy game itself, is a little, I think, behind some of the American sports games. I mean, if you play NFL fantasy in the US, it's a much higher level, but that's okay, right? Because it's a slightly different game. It's more like playing a board game or something. But there's a huge. I mean, more than 10 million people play. It's a huge audience for it. For the World Cup, though, I mean, I have a sort of interesting experience because I've been doing this weekly fantasy podcast for about 7 years now, and mobile sports betting came to New York in January. I jumped in, 2 feet first, and so that's been a great experience. And so I've been kind of all in on soccer / football betting, and sort of it's a whole different way of betting, right? I mean, there's lots of like the style, double chance and draw no bet, like these things that you just don't really have in American sports so much. I mean, maybe even hockey, not really, right? And so it's kind of I've really enjoyed that experience. And for example, I'm already thinking about some of the matches that are coming up over the course of the next week or so, and it's like there's just a lot of different. I don't know that I'll be playing a lot of outright markets. I think there's a lot more advantage in playing some of these draw no bet markets. Double chance markets.
And we've never seen, Sean, a World Cup in the modern era of sports betting, which is AKA and how much product can we put out there for us to bet? So from the fantasy angle, I would imagine like I don't even know what to expect from a prop perspective, but it's gonna be insane. I would imagine all the providers, all the prop providers, everyone's gonna try to dabble in that. And if it's anything like the football product that we found, it's very soft. I would imagine if you follow closely, you can get some serious value.
Now you mentioned some of the futures, but not necessarily the outrights. One of the bets they have over on WynnBet is Stage of Elimination, which is a fun one. What do you think about Stage of Elimination for USA? Group stages -140, round of 16s +175, quarterfinals +650, semifinals 17-1.
What about no elimination?
Stop right there.
Yeah. Runner up is 40-1. Of course, they are my dark horse team because I love America at 150-1. I don't recommend that to my clients, but where do you have America possibly crapping out here?
That is a good question. Is there a market for them not getting out of the group stage? Because that's probably the best market. I mean, I think minus 140 doesn't honestly feel like a great price for the U.S. to get out. I mean, that Wales game is going to be super tricky. The England match. I mean, we did draw with them 10 years ago, and so I think that is something.
So,
we'll
like getting ahead to the USA England.
We also beat them 200 years ago, Sean.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, you forget about the Revolutionary
Revenge
War.
game.
That should count towards our stats. Do you think? Obviously, USA would be a big dog in there, but paint a picture as to how USA either gets the draw or the win against this England team.
Against England. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing about England is, I mean, they play tight. I mean, we saw this in the Euro, final last year. I mean, 3 missed pens, right? That was a game they had in hand. Honestly, we saw it in the 2018 World Cup. I mean, they were up a goal on Croatia. They never should have lost that game. And so, this is a team that is very much in its head. And it's kind of funny because in some ways I actually like the England to win the World Cup market, but I also can see them not qualifying from their group. It's like
a high variance team.
It's a classic.
It's a high variance team.
And it sounds a little bit like they have a little Kirk Cousins, like they choke in the big moment, prime time.
Yeah.
We're going to see England choke.
Do you have any sort of, to that point of England being a long shot, do you have any sort of dark horse candidates, teams you like that you think actually do have a shot? I know obviously it's top heavy with Argentina, Brazil, but do you have a scrappy underdog you think could make a run besides America?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's honestly a pretty good tournament for underdogs in general. I mean, I think Brazil in some ways is, I mean, I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me, but to me, they're a country that I'm kind of fading when it comes to the World Cup. I mean, they're sort of, the squad has really never won anything. And they're sort of, they've got the Dani Alves and Thiago Silva. These guys are 38 and 39. Their defenders are old. I mean, Neymar is great. I mean, there's a lot of great players in there, but I'm not convinced it's all going to come together. I mean, I saw somebody earlier was like, oh, they've got, the 2 greatest goalkeepers in the Premier League playing. It's like, well, only one of them can play, right? It's like they have a lot of depth, but it's not clear that it's all gonna work out. And so I think, I mean, the one club that stands out to me, that it maybe could be a little bit like Croatia 4 years ago, is that Denmark team. And I don't even know if I'm sort of breaking any ground here with that, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. They've got a great keeper in Schmeichel. They have Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. The midfield's pretty strong in general. You've got Eriksson and the sort of, if you guys, I don't know how you guys feel about narrative type stuff.
But we love it.
I mean, the narrative around Eriksson is great, right? I mean, this is a guy who collapsed from the pitch in the Euros last summer. It looked like he was going to maybe pass, on the pitch. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this moment. It was incredibly harrowing,
very
right?
crazy sports moment where, he had an issue with his heart, completely collapsed, and no one knew what to do.
Yeah, on our future show, we actually stepped out to say, like, we really like pairing Denmark as the first place in that group to either win over France or I forget if it was Australia or Tunisia we said, but I mean, I think we agree with you. That they're a fun team, and we're 100% a narrative based handicapping show.
Well, and you mentioned narrative. We have a conspiracy theory that Qatar will make it out of the group stage. The logic being, one, I think it was since 1990, every host nation has made it out of the group stage except one. And two, I mean, if Qatar did whatever they had to do to get the World Cup, you think maybe they'll go the extra mile, maybe talk to a couple officials. There's a bunch of rumors online about them paying Ecuador's players to take a fall. We gave it out at 5-1. It's already 3-1. Do you think Qatar has a chance to move out of the group stage?
Oh, 100%. And I regret not buying that. I think you get it at like 460 a week ago. And that was,
it's all the way down to 3-1.
Yeah, and I think Sadio Mane, who's Senegal's best player, they have now confirmed that he is not going to be able to play in the tournament at all. Really heartbreaking. Is for all Liverpool supporters out there, I mean, he's just a legendary player. So he's not going to play. It's still a very good squad, but they've kind of lost their talismanic force. And so I think that and like you said, I think actually only two clubs in history have failed to get out of the group stage as the host country, like for the
for the entire thing,
history of the World Cup. Yeah. So I think they've got a great shot. Like you said, I mean, they've it's been a little crooked from the start, right? So
Yeah.
who knows?
It is. This is why it's great to be having this happen in the modern age of technology and Twitter and all this. Because, I mean, come on, they were willing to pay to have this lavish tournament.
Yeah.
In their country, right. They're obviously going to see what it might take to get a couple extra games.
You've come this far. They don't seem like they're hung up on maybe some ethics when it comes to
no compliance department over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And to that point, I mean, again, they had to move it from the summer to now in November, so it's slightly cooler, but it looks like it's still going to be very hot. We have a theory that we're kind of leaning into, that we think it's going to be a little bit more under based. Some of these European teams that are probably the more high scoring, better offenses may struggle in the heat, whereas like maybe a South American country or these African nations that are used to playing maybe at those temperatures may not affect them as much, so it'll bring the total goals down. Do you think there's anything to that, or does it work the opposite way and the defense is worn out and it creates more scoring?
I'm kind of with you there. I mean, just in general, I feel like you're probably going to be safer going unders, right? It's just,
when in doubt.
There's more value in that too, probably. But I think it's hard. The 2010 World Cup was a kind of, I shouldn't say famously, the 1990 Italy World Cup. I mean, I guess which another warm weather one. So I mean, there's a long history of some warm weather World Cups being pretty low scoring. And of course, you have the Brazil in 2014, and that one was like insanely high scoring. So I feel like I can't say confidently that it'll be low scoring, but I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess the argument, sort of two ways to look at it, and maybe this isn't very helpful, but the one way is that just in general, these guys haven't had a lot of time to drill. The Premier League season ended a week ago, right?
Yeah.
We've gone from a week off to the World Cup. There's really no time for these guys to drill, and so it would make sense to set up in a more kind of like defensive counterattacking style, right? It's just an easier thing to teach. I mean, it's Berhalter. This is kind of the great complaint about him, right? Is that he wants this free flowing attacking football, but he has these guys like 4 times a year. The counterpoint would be that because they haven't played together, there's kind of no style that's going to stop them from letting goals through it, because they're not going to be cohesive enough to stop it. So I'm kind of I think with the first week or so, I'm probably going to be a little more careful in some of my betting. I think we'll have a better sense by the time that kind of first week is done. What kind of tournament we're in for, right? Like what the story.
Well,
is.
we'll be happy to share the results of our. We're deploying a study this year. Every team's opening match, first half under. We'll be on that, so we'll report back.
We do it in college basketball all the time, and it's a similar idea of maybe you haven't played on that stage. You're not familiar with that opponent. You're a little unfamiliar conditions. It's just gonna feeling out type situation. While we're talking scoring, I'd love to get any thoughts on the Golden Boot. Of course, the player to score the most goals in the World Cup. We've talked about it a little bit. One of our picks, Lautaro Martinez. Apologies, I'm horrible at pronouncing. He's on Argentina. 25 goals in 49 games. He's got Messi setting him up. I like that play, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Golden Boot market.
Yeah, I mean, Benzema is the one that stands out to me.
Okay,
Karim Benzema is the Ballon d'Or winner, plays for Real Madrid. Has not been playing for the French national team. This is kind of a famous story that you can dig into. It involves blackmail and a court case. It's pretty interesting, actually. Yeah, he blackmailed one of his teammates. But then he kind of came back, won the Ballon d'Or, and so he's this. But he's an incredible goal scorer and a real natural goal scorer. And that French team is just loaded with. I mean, honestly, you could kind of pick almost anyone from that front line for France, and they all would be reasonable picks. But I just think that Benzema kind of has something to prove in this tournament. I also think that France has a pretty good chance of going reasonably far in the tournament. So he would be kind of my. I'm not looking at all the numbers right now, but he's in terms of value. But
Benzema is plus 700 over on WynnBet. So that's
now I'm gonna have to dig in deeper on this blackmail.
Okay, that's me too. Yeah, same here. I'm gonna jump on after this pod.
Cool. What do you? I guess before we let you go, we got to get your final thoughts on how the tournament.
Before we get that, just watching situation wise, you're on the East Coast, so the games will be 5 a.m. through and through. Like, are you even planning on working during the World Cup? How are you going to juggle the situation?
It's not easy. I mean, thankfully, the U.S. England game is the Friday after Thanksgiving, right? So it'll be this Tuesday at 2 p.m. Or I mean, this Friday at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, 2 p.m. Eastern time, I should say. Yeah, you guys are really screwed out in L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I remember when we had the South Korea World Cup. It was kind of like that. You were getting up at 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. to watch the games. But yeah, I think it's not going to be easy to get any work done. I'll be totally honest with you guys. I do work from home most of the time, so that'll help a little bit. But I'm taking off all the days when the U.S. plays. That's just sensible.
It's responsible. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully, this watching soccer is to a certain degree my job, and so I can kind of get away with it on the weekends. My
sound like me explaining to my wife, like, I'm a workaholic.
Listen,
I gotta
exactly. What can I do,
honey? I'm going to work.
Hitting a couple bets always helps, and you're like, yeah, see,
yeah,
see what I'm doing over here.
Yep.
So yeah, before we let you go, and of course, make sure you subscribe to the Always Cheating Podcast. Give them a follow on Twitter at Hail Cheaters. But Josh, give us some final predictions. Maybe besides who's going to win, but anything else we didn't cover before we let you go.
Yeah, I think fading those South American teams. That's really where I feel like there's just in general. I think they're slightly overrated because people see the famous players on those squads, and it kind of makes it seem like they're kind of automatically going to do super well. And I mean, talk about England torture. I mean, Brazil and Argentina have both been a little tortured themselves the last few years. Really, a lot of pressure on them. Argentina maybe less so. They finally won the Copa America last year, and they've got this guy Emi Martinez now, who is the keeper for Aston Villa, and he's kind of psychotic, but in a good way. He's got this great energy, and so I'm kind of pulling for them. I do like Messi. I mean, in the Messi versus Ronaldo battle, I would say I'm more of a Messi guy. Messi. But yeah, I think in general, I mean, I'm sort of, I think that France and England are slightly undervalued. I would say France, I think there's a lot of feeling like, it's very rare that a country's won back to back. It has happened. I think Brazil, maybe most recently, has done it, but it's not super common. But it's a kind of different French team. A lot of the players who are on Paul Pogba, for example, is not even on the French team this year, and he was kind of the most important player in 2018. So it feels like a different version of that squad, but they're so incredibly talented that I think they've got a really good chance. And then England. I mean, the narrative of them sort of getting their heart broken again and again, and maybe this is the year. But I think they have some value there too, just because no one kind of believes they can actually do it. But I mean, Southgate's a reasonable coach. He's fairly conservative, and even though that makes him kind of some of the British supporters really despise that, right? That he's a little bit rigid in his style. But I wonder for a tournament like this, when people haven't played together too much, if that could actually really help England and maybe be a little bit of a benefit that they kind of just know how they're going to play in the World Cup.
Oh, Sean, and of course they're playing for the Queen. You never know what kind
right.
of
That's true. Yeah.
Tragic magic could happen.
Win one for the Queen. All right, so look to fade the South American countries. Check. England and France underrated, and then of course subscribe to the Always Cheating Podcast and make sure to follow them on Twitter at Hail Cheaters. Josh, appreciate the time and best of luck.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks to all our guests, Ryan, talking soccer, aka it's we know what the real football is, the National Football League. Hey, if you're watching live on YouTube, youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast, we will be back shortly as we got a DFS props edition for Thanksgiving, and of course our NFL picks episode covering every NFL game against the spread. Make sure you get your Thanksgiving bingo card exclusively on the SGPN app.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
USA.
Kramer. Let it ride.